Good morning. It's Monday, March 30th, 2026. We're here for our county administrator update. Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, prosecuting attorneys and Joe, Caitlin. So I'm going to start very quickly with the prosecuting attorney updates. I know they wanted with the abbreviated schedule this week, and that changed without having a quorum later on in the week. There were some things that they needed to discuss with the board, and this just seemed to be a good time. Before we get to anything they have to say, I would like to talk to Trevor about today's working lunch with the city of Moses Lake. They will have their legal counsel present, and I wasn't sure if they were or were not going to do that, but it turns out they are. The whole purpose of this is just to discuss the ILA, what it's about. I anticipate their expectation is that we'll be able to work through the ILA during the lunch and get to a language we kind of all agree with. So hopefully you're okay with that.
Where's that going to be?
Here, right
Okay.
in this room. So, and Rob Curlin's bringing sandwiches. So,
okay.
With that, I don't know, you had a pressing matter, and I don't know if we need to go into executive session.
Yes, I would be requesting an executive session to talk about new litigation. And the RCW on that would be 42.30.110.1I. And I would anticipate only needing 3 minutes.
3 minutes, okay. Good. We're going to go into executive session for 3 minutes. Litigation RCW 42.30.110.1I, coming out at 8:34.
That's kind of cool.
It is 8:34. We are out of executive session.
Kevin, do you want me to do the form?
Nice.
Or Caitlin, did you do the form?
Yeah.
I did the form.
Wow.
So I wasn't sure if did you have any more for the prosecuting attorney's office?
I didn't have anything else.
All right. And I wasn't sure if you did or not, or if we just wanted to talk about Mac.
I think if we start in that conversation, I'm happy to just go off on kind of a tirade. If you want, I don't think that you do want that.
What I'd like to do though is I would like to discuss it in an executive session from the standpoint of personnel disciplinary measures.
Caitlin, do you want to do that one or do you want me to?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Let's start at 5. If we have to extend, we can extend.
We're going to go into executive session for 5 minutes under personnel disciplinary matters RCW 42.30.110.1F, coming out at 8:40.
That's what I got. So.
Okay. It is 8:40. We are out of executive session.
All right. Go ahead.
Just from my end, about or regarding the, I guess now we can call it the downfall of 365 Labs, however you want to call it, and moving forward to Spillman. It had been a struggle from the inception of the idea of getting 365 Labs to have any sort of collaboration with our office, which I find to be a little troubling on a number of points. One of them is I realize that fire uses it, other departments use it, but if all of the police agencies are using a system and we are the gatherers or the holders, meaning the prosecutor's office as criminal charges are going forward, we need to have a say in how those processes work, because I have a defendant's rights that I have to make sure are upheld or my entire case gets thrown out. And that has been the most frustrating part. When we were getting 365 Labs, we paid money. I think, I don't remember the dollar amount because I was not the elected or the prosecutor at the time, but a substantial amount of money to get a workflow or integration from 365 Labs to import reports and stuff into our digital system, because we are completely digital. And that only happened after incessant poking at parties involved. And my concern with this decision being made of getting rid of 365 labs, which I'm fully in support of. But I was not aware that there was a new program or an update or a new contract being made with Motorola. And I don't know what the ins and outs of that are. Are we buying a more advanced system than what we previously had?
Would that be Mac? I don't think the county.
No, I know that.
Oh,
But
okay.
my point is the lack of communication here is just that's where my frustration comes into. And so,
Well, it affects you directly.
it affects the county directly. If I don't get the documents that I need timely, I essentially have two options. I tell them I'm not filing a case unless you get me a hard copy of everything that you have, which I don't want to do because we are trying to move very much everything digital as much as possible. And having access to that system in a way of like us being able to track when people are being civilly served stuff and everything. I mean, it matters on the criminal end and could potentially come up in Grant County code enforcement too, if that's where they're logging everything. I mean, the information in there is great, but it's only as good as the data that's being put in and what we're receiving. And so I'm just surprised that, and I realize Mac is not like under your purview. And so like, I guess my battle is more fought there, which is why I'm like, I could go on a tirade if you want me to, but it has nothing to do with the county. My concern is though, is that if the prosecutor's office is not involved in whatever it is moving forward, and people are just making decisions of like, or assumptions of, oh, the prosecutor's office has this, that, and the other thing, and we stop and we aren't getting reports adequately, I mean, cases can be dropped because of mishandling of that information. So that's where my concern is. And I realize it's not a battle with you, it's a battle with the other
Well,
parties
we have
involved.
But we have a say in it.
So that's just where I would love the opportunity to have a sit down with all of the creators of the processes to make sure that it's actually working, not just working, but like make it the best that we possibly can. So
You're not on the board?
I am not, no. I've never been invited to anything. The only type of conversation that we had in the implementation of 365 Labs was when Kevin was here. I want to say it was November, and after several emails of asking to have a sit down with DT Donaldson and Garrett Klein.
So who all do we need to get together for you to get this straightened out? Mac, the sheriff, yourself?
Mac, Sheriff, yeah. I would love it if the other major Moses Lake Police Department could get involved just so that we could all get on the same page. But yeah, a sit down with Mac, I think would probably be a good idea.
I don't know who all's on the board, but I would suggest that at a minimum, you start with, is it Sands, Dave Sands? Is that the name of the chief of police? Yeah, so he was a big proponent of going back to zero, which to me meant a new RFQ process, but to him meant going back to Spellman. Rob, Jeremy Burns. Jeremy Burns seems to lead the meetings and is the most vocal. And I'm not sure. Everybody else in there seemed to be like from outlying fire districts.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Well,
a
they have
huge,
one fire, so they
room
have
full of
one
people.
from county commissioners, one from appointed by the Association of Cities, one member by the police chiefs of the cities and towns of Grant County, one member for fire chief, one emergency medical, I think that's the ambulance they use, and one from the largest city or town.
Well, it was interesting. That room had about 35 or 40 people in it at the MAC board meeting.
But that's
So.
the board.
How were you at that meeting, Tom?
Not the last one, the one before. Rob had invited me to go. He wanted me to hear about it, and DT was putting on a presentation, but it wasn't really anything.
Nothing that would lead up to this.
No. I would imagine that. DT, and I'm not even. I mean, Garrett works for DT, so I'm just going to use DT, right? But I would say that DT was probably just as surprised as the rest of us, when the board directed and said, You know, and I did, I'm not, this is gonna sound like I'm presuming, but so, you know, I met with DT about a week and a half ago. Just to figure out where we're headed, right? You know, I mean, I had my own views on it, of course, shallow because I haven't been a part of this, right? I haven't, you know, so I'm still really trying to understand the landscape and, met with him and he just kind of seemed over all of it. He was just like, I don't even care what happens anymore. I'm just kind of, you know, done, you know. He's just been beat up, you know. Good guy, bad guy, indifferent, I don't know. You know, he's been trying to get through what he thought was their path in 365 labs, and obviously it was a failure. So this is his new direction, and he gets to pick up and run with it. But certainly not going to do it alone, and I don't know how helpful Garrett's going to be. You know, so yeah, I don't know the guys that well. Just that there's a whole history there, and now we're moving in a new direction, and I don't know how many millions they spent on 365, but they're just walking away from it. So,
Which is a good move, but
and that, yeah, that great.
it's, I mean, it's the right move. That it's-
Yeah. I can't even get an operational plan from the sheriff on how they're going to move into the new jail, and now they're going to drop their JMS system, jail management system, and go to 365 at the same time. They're moving into a brand new facility and learning that. So it's just an added bonus to an already steep hill they're climbing just to move from one facility to another. I mean, that's a big deal on its own.
So say that again?
Well, so they're using, so the jail management system for all their records, they're using 365 labs. And now they're going to,
But it doesn't work for anything else. They don't like it for,
they don't like it for law. The fire districts seem to be okay with it. They've gotten used to it. But none of the law enforcement agencies I'm aware of. I think EFRADA has been working through it. I don't know if they're happy with it or not. But,
I've heard they've been fine with it.
well, I thought the jail was fine with it too until I asked Phil Coates. He was like, I hate it. And I mean, I never had to pay attention to it. So I'm just looking at it from a logistical standpoint, right? We're getting ready to vacate a building and a jail, go into a completely new facility, all new policies, processes, the whole 9 yards. Oh, now we're going to add this on top of it. So, I mean, it has to be done. That's the direction they're going. It's just an added. So we need to make sure that Phil's got all the resources he needs, the support that he needs, you know, because he's going to need it. It's just one more thing.
Well, the interesting part is if Joy doesn't get reelected, then we're gonna have somebody else completely different in there to run the jail.
It's true.
Along those same lines, I've talked or sent out an email trying to schedule with the courts and the clerk's office and the public defender's office and anyone that I can think of, given the location of the jail and the courtroom. There are some hearings, for example, if a defendant demands to be in court, what that might look like. Signing of documents is a big one. I don't know what program everyone thinks we're going to use, but I've not heard one way or the other
The
about
surprise.
a program. Yeah,
Joe, do you
it's a
know?
s-
But don't you think you should be part of that?
Oh, yeah, that's why I decided to start scheduling things, because if things do not go well, for better or worse, it's going to come down to my office since I'm the generator of the forms. And so I don't like to look unprepared. And so, I mean, it's gonna have to be, we generate a document, start checking boxes, and send it somewhere for court in an electronic format. And then the court is going to have to be, by court, I mean, both of them, district and superior, are going to have to be amenable to receiving the documents in that format prior to the
Cities Digital has a solution for digital signatures to use Laserfish, and that it is currently being used by Spokane County and I believe King County.
So there's a lot of history to this. You know, and Joe can correct me, but I want to say it was almost 2 years ago. I asked GCTS to kind of stand up a couple of people to work with the Superior Court to figure out what they needed. I know that they made contact with them. I know that they tried. Nobody was ever really interested in engaging with GCTS or me. I can show you plenty of emails where I've asked them to engage. And they haven't. So it's been a long road just to get to this point. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate Brandon's efforts and picking up the horns, taking it by the horns, right? Because I mean, and I keep going back to an email from Kim Allen last year when I sent another email out, and Kim responded to everybody and said, Tom's right. This isn't his thing to figure out. You know, he's asked, and here we are, you know, at the 11th hour trying to figure it out. So whatever we figure out, just know that the communication has been there from this side to try and figure that out. You know, we'll get somewhere sooner than later, I hope.
So where's the breakdown at? Is it the sheriff's department? Is it, who's not following through? Who's not?
So I brought it up in my office about any conversation that Kevin had while I was not here.
Right.
And all of them said nothing. He didn't mention anything to them at all in any capacity. I don't know what, my assumption would be that he was waiting on a couple of appellate cases to figure out if digital signatures would be okay and if digital fingerprinting would be okay. Because that is an immediately red flag that went up in my head of if a person is sentenced and then they challenge the sentence saying I didn't actually wet signature this document, and if that's put up for debate. When I talked with the public defender's office, David Bustamante was there with me, and he brought up the same question that we might have to ask the Court of Appeals for some sort of advisory opinion before implementation of something like this, because right now I think we're operating under a bunch of assumptions. However, along those same lines, I do know that we have already, there are some defense attorneys that attach a digital signature, and so it's working. The part that I'm getting kind of stuck in is there's a lot of preparation that has to go into making sure all of these documents are there in front of the judge at the time of the hearing, and everybody has to agree of that process. And so there's my office, the clerk's office, the Superior Court, and the public defenders, and any other private attorney, which they just are going to have buy-in once a rule is signed or whatever. But if we can't agree on that process, I mean, the Superior Court could just say, no, that's not happening, and bring them all in. I mean, who are we to say to a judge, you have to do it this way? We can't.
So we do have two courts in Washington State that have been operating under this
Yeah, I think
model forever.
King County's doing it, Spokane County's doing it.
Well, Asotin County, and granted, these are small, right? But Asotin County and Jefferson County both have got courthouses that are separated from their jails. So I did have requests out to the presiding judges of both those counties. They were both willing to meet. Those were delayed indefinitely. So, and that was delayed by the court.
And I don't think it's going to get to an impossibility. I just, like, with adequate preparation and communication about how a system could work, I'm sure that everybody would get on board with it. I've talked to Kim, met briefly with David Bustamante, with presiding Judge Gelati. And so I think that they are on board. They just, what's the process? What's it going to look like, and how are things? And that's what we all have to agree on. And nobody, other than assumptions and ideas, I don't think we've come to an agreement. From my perspective, it's going to have to be that we're all operating with the same software program in maybe not the generation of the forms, but the signing of them. Because I can just imagine sending everything digitally 3 different places and having 3 different types of programs being ran for it all. And I don't know if my office has users for all of the, like Laserfish, for example. I think only our legal assistants do.
I believe you're licensed.
I think I
I'll
am.
verify that.
Yeah, and so, but if that's the case, then so it would necessarily have to be also that the clerk's office is, which I imagine all of them would be because they deal with that stuff all the time. But then also the court would have to.
So is the CDI software that Spokane and King County's using, would that be adequate?
It's Laserfish. We have it implemented here already.
I think it would, and like the adequateness of the program is not what I'm mostly concerned about. It's just we need to identify which program it is and then get everyone on the same page. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish with getting everybody together.
I think from a technology standpoint, this problem is solved. I think what Brandon is eloquently stated is the court needs to determine what the paperwork looks like, what they want to see in front of them, so that the prosecutor and all other parties can meet that standard.
Yeah.
I've spoken with the clerk. She is okay with digital signatures. As far as I understand, Brandon is okay with digital signatures. The sheriff was okay with digital signatures. We can't get anything back from the courts on their position on the matter.
And then to follow up on our earlier conversation, I did direct Brett last week to let me know when we could clear a day or get all the public defenders up there. So hopefully he'll reach out to you and start trying to schedule that. So, and I'll, whatever days those end up being, I'll just clear my day and we'll get up there and spend as much time as we need.
So long story short, all is good.
Kind of, almost. We're in transition.
It's good that we're working on it.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So I want to just bounce back to Joe. So Joe, if Max stays with they don't go with 365, but they stay with Spillman, is there anything that TS needs to know about the stay or?
Well, so I'm sorry to interrupt very quickly. It's not if they decide to, they did.
Okay, so they're staying. Well, it sounds like some are using 365, some are using Spillman.
Well, they've directed them to go away from 365 and transition back to Spillman
Okay.
entirely. So no more 365. 365 is now considered dead as they transition to Spillman, countywide.
And is
So-
it, oh, sorry, go.
So Spillman was acquired by Motorola a year, 2 years ago. They've come up with a new slight variation of the application. It's Spillman Flex. It actually has better abilities to be managed. It can now be run inside Windows. It can be run as a virtual machine in a virtualized environment, which makes backups and all those things a lot easier. I think the core application of Spillman hasn't changed greatly. So moving back into it should not be a huge lift for the sheriff's office or for any other entity within the county, as they've used it for at least the last 2 decades. So I don't think it's a huge difference in the application overall. Just slight differences in how it's managed on the back end from an IT standpoint. And I believe that those requirements have become made much easier to maintain. I don't know what max capabilities are. And I am willing to give whatever advice I can to them in that regard, because I do it here for technology services and have for quite some time. So
Okay, thank you.
Do you know if it's like an upgraded version of Flex or?
they just changed the name Spillman Flex, and I don't know what actual changes in the application have occurred. My guess would be that it's very close to the original. So I don't foresee it being a huge issue. I know that I was rumored, or I was told that Motorola was not paying a great deal of attention to the application when they first acquired it. They lost several customers over it. They have since put a great amount of effort back into the application to retain those customers. I also believe that Kittitas County is in the process of going from the old Spillman to the new Spillman Flex as well. So it's used throughout the region. It's, law enforcement likes it. So
Good? Okay,
Thank you.
you bet. I am gonna move on with the rest of my update. Thanks, and I'll
Brandon, let us
see-
know if there's anything we can do.
Yeah.
and I'll plan on seeing you at noon
sounds
for
good.
lunch. Right on.
No, thank you. It's a fun day today. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
And you can stay if you want, you don't have to, so you're good to go.
Joe's like, why would I want to stay? Thank you, Joe, for joining us.
Thank you.
So I'm assuming you all got the leadership report that I sent out on Thursday evening or Friday. I continued to play with the prompt I was giving to try and make sure, and I did ask all the department heads to weigh in and ensure that the updates I gave were accurate, the way it's summarized, and everybody said yes. So I'm still, trying to find the best way that I can, keep everything to the board pertinent, factual, informing, and not 70 pages, so trying to wrap it up and put a nice little bow on it for you so you get all the information you need. Please continue to provide feedback on those. If it's not enough, if there's something else that you want, I'm just trying to make sure the board remains informed. Wednesday afternoon, I'll be headed to Leavenworth for the Washington State Association of Counties County Administrator Affiliate Meeting. I'll be in Leavenworth Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I'll be available by phone and email. And the Cora will be there, as will Blair. So they opened up the administrators affiliate to administrators in general to try and get more people in leadership positions. So I think there's going to be 3 or 4 risk managers there. There's like 4 or 5 different HR directors there. So it really opens that room up to a greater breadth of discussion around administrative things that you need to do. I know that they've got an entire session planned on risk that, not WCRG, the other one, is coming in and doing a 2-hour presentation on risk and things that are happening in pitfalls for counties and stuff like that. So it should be really good. We're looking forward to it, but that's Wednesday. We performed bid openings on Thursday at the Leidig offices in Spokane. Unfortunately, I know that J&M Electric was really hoping to win the electrical bid, but they came in 3rd place. That happened while we were doing the interview for New Hope. Those bids came in close to where we expected. We've not completed all the bids. Leidig is still working on the GMP for the coroner's office. We've already done a lot of value engineering. And I think when we get to the GMP that they're going to present probably in the 2nd week of April, I'm assuming 2nd, 3rd week at the latest, there's not going to be a whole lot of room to move the price down, not in big chunks anyway. Currently, the GMP is forecasted to be around 10.9 million for the facility. This does not include soft costs, which would be upwards of 20%, which would likely put the total cost at about 13 million. Now, the good news is that we did receive word that Congressman Newhouse has forwarded our application for our project to appropriations for 2.35 million. So if for some reason we do, hopefully when that is awarded, I'm going to put it that way, think positively, that will end up being, if the GMP stays where it is, about 10.7 million. And I know that we were thinking it was going to be around 10. So we're not that far off. And of course, we can save some money in our soft costs and that kind of thing. But that's kind of where we're tracking on that right now, just to give the board an update. Hopefully, Leidig will be good with their GMP in about 2 weeks, and we'll have a really good hard number. So most of the bids have been coming in close to where they expected or a little bit below. Nothing really over. So, but any questions about that? Craig seems to be happy working out a work release. So we're on track. We're moving forward.
This is no Craig seems to be happy wherever he's at.
He is.
So we
He
are
is
very
too.
lucky we have a coroner that
You're
is just so upbeat.
You are absolutely right. So let's see. Last week, there was a little bit of email about a central communications hub for the county or some, official communications person. It's interesting. I saw social media post by the sheriff's office about, it was the assessor's post on this, it was information on the senior exemption. Okay, fine. The sheriff putting that out does seem kind of odd. The sheriff isn't going to respond to all the various comments or what have you if you decide you're going to put something like that out. So I think that if departments are going to do something like that, and I'm fully supportive of, I think it's great. There's a lot of changes to the senior exemption process, so I think getting that information out there is great. But she ought to be doing it in such a way that she can respond to all the comments or provide even more value to that conversation as people ask. And if not, there should be a central hub. And ideally, that fit would be under me, under the county administrator. I'm already kind of doing some of that, but it shouldn't be somebody else's collateral duty. And it needs to be well thought out. So I'm going to try and come up with some kind of a picture of what that would look like, some kind of policy idea, some kind of something. But it's not in any way a burning priority for me right now because I have a lot more going on. But the way that we communicate as a county, it should. If I agree with Kyle Foreman that probably wasn't, as far as reach, it was a great way to do it. But whether the sheriff should be putting out that information, I don't know. That's right.
Well,
So,
we have kind of, sorry, come go.
Oh, you go ahead.
Directed, when Kyla was hired, he's
Yeah.
supposed to be the public,
for the entire public, information for the
basically
entire
for the
county.
county, because the county does not have one. So that was kind of the scope of, he
Okay.
will do it for the sheriff's office and then for the county if there is county information. So if he is not supposed to be helping the county, we need to, I guess, notify all the elected officials and department heads because that was kind of the intent. If we needed something put out, we've always said, put it on the sheriff's website or webpage,
Yeah.
Facebook
Okay.
page,
Fair
because
fair
he has
enough.
a
Yeah.
farther outreach than any other.
Right. No, you're
outreach that
right.
we
You're right.
have.
He's
So-
definitely got the reach, and I wasn't aware of that. I think in his email, and I'm paraphrasing, so I could be wrong, but it said that, he felt that wasn't really keeping in the sheriff's strategic communications plan, which would lend itself to being not a county's communication person. He's there only for the sheriff. That's the way I took that. It's like, well, he is only, he's doing it as a favor. But regardless of that, though, the sheriff has plenty of communications they need to put out.
So if we have an issue, then put them under Grant County.
Well, I guess I
Instead of
would,
under the sheriff.
I wish I'd known about that before it went out. I'd have certainly posted it at the same time under, my central services administrative account, just to get it out there. I know I only have 489 followers. People in the press might be able to help me with that, but I'm not getting a lot of help. But anyway,
You know, like you said,
There's a lot of government websites that have news releases.
Yeah.
And Grant County doesn't have. It seems to me each department or office,
yeah.
if they've got something they want to announce, if you had something on your website that was central that everybody could post to,
Well, so
that would
we
be
do.
convenient.
Yeah.
Daryl's going to tell people that tax statements went out or.
We do. What we don't have, though, is that one person coordinating that communication.
Well, I'm trying to find it on where is it on your website that says what's new in Grant County or something?
Well, is that something that this new
Isn't that right on the front page?
marketing person could do for us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
PIO. I think that's
But if there's nothing, yeah.
It's not gonna show up.
Yeah.
what we
Well, and
could.
if you ask Daryl about this new senior citizen tax thing,
Senior exemption.
senior exemption, yeah, it wasn't very well thought out.
Yeah. Well, maybe so, but here it is, right? So.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good point. So we have, to discuss that a little bit further, we have the capability within our website. We have a spot just for that, but like Caitlin said, if nobody's putting anything out or if there isn't anything, then it doesn't show up. So.
It seemed to me, that whatever gets posted, whatever would be visible all the time. So, and I don't know if you could put an alert on it, here's new or something, but from my navigating your website, it's not something that's easy to find.
Okay.
So
That's good feedback. That's good feedback. I might follow up with you on that, talk a little bit more. Sure. Cool, thanks. Let's see. With that, we've only got about 15 minutes left. So I would like to go into executive session for 10 minutes and discuss a personal disciplinary issue and put a button on some things. Caitlin, I would ask you to stay for this one, as it, she may have some relevant information for me.
You're
Oh,
gonna-
shoot.
Thanks, Randy.
Sorry, Caitlin. I didn't do the last one,
No, I did it.
because by the time anyway, thank you.
You're gonna go into executive session under personnel disciplinary matter HCW 42.30.1101F for 10 minutes, coming out at 9:23.
Or,
It's
I mean,
9:24, we are out of executive session.
yeah, do you feel like you
I
have to do?
absolutely do, because if there's, I don't think it's, we're talking about the interviews.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to be in one and not the other.
Yeah, it's
and then
happened
make a
in the past,
decision.
and I'm
Yeah,
not
and I
advocating
just-
either
and
way.
I always feel like you only get half the story, and
Sure,
so I would feel that,
okay.
even if it was just for half the time or part of the time.
So do we have the ability to move things around a little bit or accommodate that somehow?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, and no is the.
So,
short
but I
answer,
think that will be, if I step out for 5 or 10 minutes, that is not gonna impact, I'll just sit close to the door and let them know before the interview starts, but, yeah, and I'm really sorry, I didn't catch all that until after, I'm like, oh, whoops.
I
Would
saw it on Tom's calendar, but it never, I did not. put
And
it on.
I just assumed you put that on my calendar, but it must have come from HR.
Would it be easier for you, and I'm just asking, so we're doing the interview in the same place. Would it be easier for you if I had the hearing room up on my computer so you could just pop right across the hallway and just sit in front of a computer and be here?
Yeah, or I usually just do my phone.
That way you're not running back and forth.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna run back and forth, I was just gonna do my phone.
Okay.
So it'll save me 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
trying-
maybe
trying
4,
to-
I'm not that
trying
fast.
to- trying to
Round
accommodate
trip,
both,
4
and
to
I
5 minutes round
I
trip.
apologize
But
for
I
the
just don't
confusion, and I
have
think
a
this
meeting
kind of
either.
came up last minute, so.
But I have been trying to work this in my mind instead of having to reschedule the interview, so.
Okay.
And it's pretty short.
Anything, that's all I've got for you today. I can't believe I took up the whole hour.
Okay, well, I'm gonna ask you this one because I am really struggling. Sam Lorenz, they want to name an office, the emergency management after Sam. Sam was an incredible guy. He worked for the county for many, many years.
Yeah,
I'm just struggling to name an office building in the new jail,
well, I struggle with it
emergency
too.
management. So I'm probably gonna be a no, and not that I don't, I've worked with him and he was just a great leader, worked great with the county, but I would rather have a plaque put up, maybe in memory of outside of the door if they wanted to or somewhere. But I just feel like naming an office space or I'm struggling with it.
So this, yeah, I struggle with it too, and I don't know how you discuss these things and not sound crass, right? And I don't mean to, but, I'm okay with naming conventions that include our surrounding areas like we've done with our conference rooms, right? People come and go and their contributions live on. And their contributions shouldn't be forgotten, but they should have been built upon continuously, right? With reverence even, if you think about it. And to garner having something named after you. And maybe he did, I don't know. The only way I know of to remember employees here is through our Memorial Rose Garden, which we have out here. And I don't know Sam Lawrence. I don't know if he recently passed. I don't know if he did. I'm more than happy to get a rose out there for him and get a name plaque out there as well. But I struggle with that too. I would rather not do that, but
I think a plaque in the building is probably sufficient.
I just wanted to let her, how I was thinking on that one.
I'm not trying to be insulting to anybody.
No, I'm not either, and I really like Sam. I just feel like we could, there's some incredible people in our county. We could name a building after a lot of them.
How about naming a street?
No,
Okay.
in the city you can, but in the county, no, because it messes up the grid. Because if you're like A,
We got
B,
the guy
C,
to do
D,
that.
What?
I know, but we had a report.
What am I doing? I'm naming buildings and streets now? I can.
All right.
Okay.
We have a director of meetings also and keep the building.
We're gonna go into recess until 9:30 and back with development services.
What?
Good morning, it's 9:31. We are here with development services. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, commissioners. Happy Monday. So bi-monthly update coming out of development services. I'd like to start with the building permit, pending building permit report. Like I promised during my last update, did a kind of a comprehensive review of our current building permits in a pending status. So overall, this report covers active building permits through March 24th, and it includes statuses by the building department, the fire department, planning, health, public works. The statuses, and I'm sorry, it's a little bit difficult. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to read in that it's very, very fine print, but I wanted you guys to have all of the permits that are on the books right now. So status codes to be mindful of: A is approved, P is pending review, D means that there's a deficiency, and those deficiencies are listed in the comments column to the right. NR means that that department did not require a review. So overall, the list reflects a heavy mix of new single-family residences, manufactured homes. Some of those are accessory dwelling units. There's a small but notable set of commercial and institutional projects, including the Quincy Solar mechanical array. There's a large water reservoir application in for the Gorge, and the multiple toilet replacements for WDFW in and around the county. And there's quite a few projects out of Big Bend. So the key themes that I was able to ascertain through this review: multiple permits are in a status that we call pending ORR, or other office review. And those are often awaiting health district applications and or approach permits or responses to RFIs. So RFIs are a request for information, and those requests are often additional information needed in and around their energy code application, lacking engineering or construction documents or revised site plans. So if you look in the comment sections, and you don't need to do it in detail right now, I've indicated how many RFIs have been requested and the dates that they were requested. And so you will see that often, and quite a few of these, were up to actually 3 requests for information. So when an applicant says, hey, I submitted in, January, we've been waiting, it's now almost April, I would have the commissioners look up the building permit number, the applicant, all the information's there in front of you, and look to see what the status is and how many requests for information my department has asked for, because often there's where the details are. So some observed timelines. So single-family residences and large additions often sit at 6 to 11 weeks in other office review or under reviews when RFIs and health district approach permits are outstanding. Manufactured homes are moving a little bit quicker, about 4 to 8 weeks, with the main delays again occurring with Grant County Health District applications or access clarifications are missing. Residential accessory structures, which we consider to be pools, shops, garages, lean-tos, et cetera, are about 3 to 7 weeks. They tend to clear more quickly, but are often held in under review due to incomplete construction drawings, in some cases missing other studies like cultural resources, or their code enforcement issues that we've issued stop work orders on and are seeking follow-up information for. Again, commercial and institutional projects tend to run between 4 and 8 weeks. Sometimes they're tied up with additional information that's requested, like shoreline permits. Sometimes they require SEPA and other multi-agency coordination. Some things for the board to be aware of. There's some large scale or higher profile items, including, like I'd said earlier, there's a 1.25 million gallon reservoir for the Gorge. There's, again, the Quincy Solar project, which That permit is ready to be issued. We are negotiating with them a letter of credit to guarantee the decommissioning and reclamation or restoration of that project, and those have to be issued. Those dates have to coincide, so there'll be a letter of credit on the consent agenda here pretty quick. Probably not this week, but next week. And when that letter of credit is signed by the chair, we will issue that building permit, that mechanical permit. And I think, yeah, I've listed in the estimated fees in the large spreadsheet, you'll see under building permit number 260061, you'll see that that estimated fee is roughly $387,000.
I'd be happy to print that on that water for you.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah, and we probably could too. Another notable permit, we have one single family residence, building file 26009. That's an 11,000 square foot single family residence. We've been ready to issue that, being we in building and planning and fire have been ready to issue this permit, but it's being held up by an approach permit and health district application. I think Chairman Burgess was able to help us clear up the approach permit piece last week, so appreciate that help. But we're still waiting for the health district on that one.
So did they take care of it at Public Works then?
Yeah, I think Public Works is taking care of that one.
Okay.
And again, a few permits have some code enforcement stop work orders that were issued. So, so hopefully that gives the board a little bit clearer of a picture of where we stand on building permits and or some reference material should an applicant call. You can quickly, scour through this list.
This will be great.
Yeah. I'll email the clerk this spreadsheet so that you guys have it so that it's searchable. So any questions on that? It's a lot, but.
Just too nice to be able to see it a little bit bigger.
Okay, I'll print it. I'll take Tom up on his offer.
I had to get my glasses out and I'm like, literally just,
Oh, my glasses aren't magnified enough to see it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I can barely, I have to, make up some of the words as I go along.
Yeah.
I'm not, you're like, I think that's.
Yeah,
what's here.
I really was struggling with how do we, that's a lot of information and how do we get it in such a way that it's able to be,
No, it's good though.
able to be seen. So,
It gives us a better understanding of what's going on.
yeah, like I said, I'll email Caitlin, the PDFs of that, and then you can blow it up a little bit bigger and be able to look through that. More exciting than building permits, I know, is recently passed House Bill 1960. And so I've given the board my overall position, our overall position on House Bill 1960, which is the renewable energy excise tax legislation. So this past legislation creates a new renewable energy excise tax system that will replace the current personal property tax structure for renewable energy projects. It's designed to address the property tax burden shift that occurs as wind and solar facilities depreciate over time. In my analysis overall, Grant County is well positioned, is that we already have an existing solar ordinance in place. And we have 6 projects that already qualify as having been applied for and are under SEPA review at the required deadline of November of 2025. So what this means for us is we have opt-in eligibility because of those 6 existing projects, and therefore we will be eligible for the grant funding and qualify for the local investment dollar distribution grant program. And we will not need to adopt the Commerce's model ordinance that they will stand up by 2028. So what this really kind of means, and I'll let you guys pour through it because there's a lot of information here. How it works is under 1960, counties may levy a local renewable energy excise tax on the qualifying facilities that become operational or opt-in. Solar facilities will be able to exercise a local excise tax rate of $2,905 per megawatt of nameplate capacity. Battery storage will be $467 per megawatt of nameplate capacity. So based off of our 6 projects that we already have on the approved list, that roughly, the solar component is roughly 1,300 megawatts or $3.78 million annually,
3.7.
3.78 million annually. The battery storage component of what we have on the approved list is 0.39 million, so the total is roughly 4.2 million. Now, the local investment distribution grant program, which is the portion that the state collects off of those same projects, roughly, well, not roughly, the state would collect $968 per megawatt for solar and $156 per megawatt per solar. So for the 6 Grant County projects, that would be an additional 1.3, almost $1.4 million per year, of which, I'm jumping forward to number 10, of which Grant County would be eligible for 75% of those funds. Okay, so it's kind of like I was explaining to Michelle, in layman's terms, it's kind of like the sales tax system where we have, the state has a base rate of 6.5% and then we have a local rate, let's say 2%. Well, the county is going to collect the full base rate. And then we have an option, because we're eligible for the grant program, to collect 75% of the local rate. So conceivably, I think I totaled the whole thing at roughly almost $6 million a year. Yeah, $5.8 million a year.
That'll go through planning.
No, it comes straight to Daryl.
Okay, well, because building is its own little silo, so if it's in planning, then it's that current expense.
Yeah,
revenue.
so I talk about that a little bit further. So now I wrote a draft policy for the treasurer's office, okay, on how we would deal with the local investment distribution grant program implementation. So effectively, and there's a worksheet that's attached in Appendix A. So of the 75% of the state monies that we would be eligible for, we need to make an election. Do we distribute those dollars through our local taxing districts? Or do we make an election that we're a rural county? And do we keep those monies internally to the county? So I have a draft resolution for an Appendix B it's an urban resolution. If we decided to flow those monies through the taxing districts based off of the policy that I drafted for the draft policy for the treasurer's office, or do we elect to be a rural county in Appendix C and keep those funds internal to us, which would keep those funds in road maintenance, in emergency response, and then Commissioner Carter, to your point, we would be able to use some of those funds for planning and permitting, staffing, compliance, community benefit programs, and other uses. It has to be specific to renewable. So archaeological, cultural, and environmental mitigation projects, community benefit projects, and infrastructure improvements in areas hosting renewable energy projects and other uses reasonably related to renewable energy siting operation and community impacts. In Appendix D is the approved SEPA list. And you'll see that there's, again, 6 projects in Grant County. There's numerous in Yakima and Benton County. And then in Appendix E is the bill for you guys to read at your leisure. So I drafted the policy and the draft resolutions for your consideration. My recommendation would be that maybe the treasurer's office takes a look at this, and it's something that we put forward maybe in the upcoming weeks before we lose sight of it.
Yeah.
So,
Because that'll happen.
that's my concern is that we all have competing priorities, and And I just don't want to lose, I don't want to lose sight of this one. This is $6 million annually that can come into the fund and again, be disseminated out to the taxing districts or can stay, if we make a rural election, can come into the general fund. But then over the life of, and this is just the 6 projects, we have other projects that didn't make this list that will come under review that will total, maybe 9, maybe even 10. But of the 6 projects and the projected life of those projects, if we amortize those out over the 20 to 30 years, we're talking almost $190 million in guaranteed tax revenues. That where before, as you well know, is on a depreciating scale, on a sliding downward scale, that this bill, kind of flew underneath everybody's radar. Michelle and I were tracking it, but outside of that, it was, something that wasn't heavily talked about, and I'm not even sure that our treasurer or assessor is even aware that it passed.
And it was pushed by Wasac.
And it was pushed by Wasac, and it started last year, fell short, but then was able to make it over the finish line this year.
Have you heard much from the developers of these projects about this?
I have. So I spoke to the developer of the Horse 7 Wind project in Benton County and asked their opinion last year when we were drafting this at Wasac. And they actually prefer this over the front-loaded large amount that they give upfront to the current tax structure. So they'd rather have a guaranteed amount that they can budget for over time for the project. So they were in support of it as well.
Yeah.
Because it's, if you think about the capital investment that they're having to start out of the door with both infrastructure and then these types of tax incentive or tax requirements, yeah, it's a lot better.
It's a lot of revenue.
Yeah, it was very exciting. We had an opportunity last week to meet with members from FSEC and the Department of Ecology, to host members of FSEC and the Department of Ecology last Wednesday. And we had a great discussion. It was intended to be a regional training event in and around the rollout of their programmatic EIS processes for transmission and for solar and wind, onshore wind, solar, and transmission. Unfortunately, it wasn't very heavily attended by members of our surrounding communities, and it ended up just being Michelle and I in the room with these 5. And it was a great conversation that we were able to have just with them, kind of a little bit commiserating about the processes that we both go through, FSEC, and the way that they handle and approach projects and permits, and then of course how we handle them internally. And they're very, very, very similar. They were similar processes, similar challenges. But then we talked about this bill and then other upcoming renewable energy types of technologies that they're tracking and are excited about. And I think that we probably landed on, I think hydrogen is out the window a little bit in their opinion, and green hydrogen, and they're really kind of excited about geothermal. So we're gonna look at we have been looking at some mapping to see if geothermal is something that would catch on in Grant County. I think that from what we've seen, it probably resonates a little bit closer in counties that are a little bit closer to mountainous regions, but there is some hot spots in Grant. So
Well, our courthouse was heated by geothermal.
yeah,
It was,
Yeah.
not anymore.
yeah.
Yes, it was, yes. So I think it's pretty.
And so
pretty
just
cool.
the history there, so they did an entire geothermal project, but they couldn't regulate the water temperature varied so much that it didn't work, and it was capped, and that's why that mechanical room out there looks the way it does, is they only used it for a short period of time.
We didn't know it was hit and miss.
Yeah, it was hit and miss, and they stopped using it, and that's why you had all that mechanical equipment out there that we ended up replacing at the end of its life cycle.
Rob has joined us. Welcome, Rob.
Yeah.
Maybe he's been up there the whole time. I just.
You've been there for a little bit.
Yeah. It's an interesting technology. It's not really caught on around here in this region because there's just not a lot of deep drilling that's occurred, and fracking and things like you've seen in the south. But
You know, what's curious about that, and when I hear the debate about water usage and cooling for data centers. So McKinstry in Spokane, they're right there on the river, they did an injection well. First of all, they drilled 100 feet to get 51-degree water, and they ran that through a series of hydronics and cooled their floor, and it provided up to 25% of the cooling for the building. And then it never touched the atmosphere, so it went right back into an injection well and went right back down to the aquifer. And then we did one of those for Avista. Now, Avista's 12-inch well was used for computer room air conditioning, all the crack units, which they have these massive crack units. And that thing was taking 1,200 gallons per minute back into the aquifer. That's how much was traveling through there. So they were using an injection well, totally renewable, never touching the atmosphere. So no harm, no foul.
Right.
And they were using that to cool all of their facilities at Avista. So I'd love to see how that could be used with data centers here, if that's a possibility. So.
Right.
The previous commissioners, when Lee Bright Allison was here, we had a conference, but we were able to tour Chena Hot Springs. And they have their hot springs, and they have a greenhouse they run from the hot springs. I think it generates all their power because they say off the grid, they are off the grid. They're in the middle of nowhere.
No.
So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Ecology's pretty excited about it.
They are. Yeah, they are.
And it sounds like Energy Northwest that operates the nuclear facility in Benton County is the one that's kind of spearheading this inquiry of trying to find geothermal throughout the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can show you if you want. I mean, it takes 5 minutes. I can show you what they had done in our mechanical plant out here, and the short history of it. But it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So Tom, what did they have, when was it? When did they,
So,
Try to
well, so I've got the original plans. It was in the 50s.
okay.
But, you know, I got here 13 years ago, and the equipment in the mechanical room was at the end of its lifespan, which is 25 years. So we ended up, and that equipment that was at the end of its lifespan had replaced the geothermal system. So at least, 25 years before 13 years ago, they had stopped using the geothermal system because they couldn't, the notes that I could find, even pre-Vern Cummings, were we can't regulate the temperatures, we can't, so.
Historical times.
Yeah. It was interesting, well, because you walk in and there's these cut-off pipes that go right down through your mechanical room floor, and they're 6 inches in diameter, and you're like, where do those go? Oh, it's geothermal. What do you mean it's geothermal? What does that mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I'd have to do a lot more research on it because we hadn't really even considered it. But the notion here is drilling deep enough to hit a thermal pocket where temperatures, heat rises to propel turbines to.
Yeah.
But we're talking, don't know what the above ground looks like, the infrastructure looks like. I mean, are you connecting, I don't know. I mean, conceivably, it would be a smaller footprint than, these massive solar fields.
I think there's plenty of examples of really successful geothermal systems all around the world. I just, just are they here?
Right. And that's the thinking is looking at the maps that Ecology was able to provide. And I think DNR, was it a DNR mapping, the hotter spots are, Kittitas, Yakima, again, mountainous counties where, where you would expect, there to be more geothermal activity than here in the basin. But it definitely lit up here as well too. So we're going to look at it and be sure that we're ready for it. So, yeah. Anyway, we're really excited about it. That happened over this last legislative session, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware. And then if there's anything that we can do to help raise awareness to the elected offices, then let us know. But I think it's something that we should probably jump on here in the sooner side.
Okay, thank you. Exciting.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, see you at noon.
Thanks. Yeah, sandwiches.
Ooh.
Yeah.
9:56, we're gonna go into recess until 10:15. All right, it is 10:15 and we're here for clerk's office update. Morning.
Good morning. I don't really have an update, but I have some questions.
You have some questions?
Yeah.
She's looking right at you, Kevin, so
Hopefully we have some answers.
we'll make something up.
I had seen, I wasn't able to listen in, but I had seen on, I think it was last week's agenda, something about a chief financial officer job description review.
Correct.
Is that a new position?
Working on it.
Okay.
Well, we have we're working on the job description. We have not
We haven't made that
voted
decision.
to hire one or to make a new job. I think we have some questions for the civil attorney
Is
on the
that
duties, what the
under
duties.
the auditor or under you guys?
They could be under both places, I think.
I don't think we've made that decision
Yeah.
either. It's in the works. We're trying to figure it
There's
out.
still, again, like more questions than we have answers, kind of like you, so, but it would be under both. If it was under the commissioners, they would not really have access in the auditor's office. If they were in the auditor's office, they would have more access to reports and stuff, so. And Michelle was not at the meeting last week. She had a doctor appointment and was not able to attend.
So what are the next steps at this point?
I would say continue to work through HR. I think they were gonna talk to Trevor, I think.
Yeah, and Trevor,
Yeah.
our civil attorney, and just see like what are what can they do and what can't they do? It was kind of basically to help with reports and help with the budget. Some things, but if they don't have access to the system, so they would need it to be in the auditor's office.
Will you have more meetings for input from other elected officials and department heads?
I would think so.
I would
It's
say
pretty key.
more than likely, yes.
Okay.
There'll be more to come on
This
that.
is just kind of like the starting, just barely started.
And then the next question I had was about, I don't even know for sure what it is, maybe an audit of financial information? Is something going on that I should know
Yeah,
about?
we have, what's the entity we
Baker
hired?
Tilly.
Baker Tilly is coming in and doing like an internal audit, more of a process, because we have a new accounting, head accounting person at Renew. We have new accounting in Public Works. We ourselves are pretty new. And so it's just kind of to look at the flow and what could we do to improve? What do we need help with? And we're also transitioning into a new software, Tyler, that has taken a lot of time. And I think just more looking at the process, like what can we do to streamline it? What do we need to do to kind of facilitate a better transition? So it's more of a kind of an internal process.
Is that something that should I anticipate that they'll be contacting me or?
I would imagine somebody will at some point.
Well,
Yeah. I think they're doing interviews with every department head.
I don't know if it's every department head, because Missy said she was the last interview on Friday. So I don't know if it's just I don't know. I guess we'll have to, but I thought it was more of.
That's how I found out about it, was from Missy, and
Yeah.
she's like, you haven't talked to him? I was like, I don't know anything
I
about
think
it.
it's also, yeah, and they're between the assessor, the treasurer, and the auditor's office. And I think that, well, and plus the ones that kind of do like the outreach that is pretty intense. I don't know, like, Caitlin, I don't think you were interviewed. Was anybody in our office?
No, from what I gathered, they chose offices and departments, and then from what I understand, they were not interviewing everybody, because if you have very similar structures to the kinds of funds that you have, they didn't need to, like, if you know your grants work this way, you don't necessarily need to interview everybody whose grants work that way. That's the way I understood it.
But Missy is a part of contributes to the budget. Daryl contributes to the budget. The auditor's office does. So I believe it's more, and I'm pretty sure Public Works was, because they kind of have their own. We have to integrate Public Works and then also renew into our system. So I think that's kind of where, like, what do we need to do? But it wasn't as far as like the state auditor's office. We're not looking for, I mean, it was more of a process, looking at the process on how things, what can we do to improve? What can we do to help Mandy in the process?
I just didn't know anything about it, and if I was supposed to be interviewed, I haven't been
Well,
interviewed.
I think it was just kind of the,
Yeah, I think it was more.
not everybody.
As
more.
they went, as they went into the interviews, they would decide who else they would need to interview. I don't think it was everybody that within the county.
All right,
It
okay.
was as
I
needed.
just wanted to make sure that if I was supposed to be doing something, somebody would let me know. Nobody has let me know, so I'm gonna take that as, no news is good news.
We're just trying to improve our process from last
Okay.
year.
All right. Yeah, okay.
Hopefully we answered that well.
What's up?
I said, hopefully we answered that well.
Yeah.
Tom's been spirited.
I'll wait to hear from somebody. If I don't hear from somebody, I'm not gonna worry about it.
Fair enough.
And Baker Tilly is formerly, let me tell you, and they actually have people that can help that are familiar with Tyler, that if we need help importing Tyler or working with Tyler, they would be able to help us do that. Moss Adams, they're formerly Moss Adams.
Oh, okay. I'd never heard of Baker Tilly. All right, well, that was all I had. Do you have any questions for me?
What's your thoughts on the move for the jail as far as signing documents and electronic signatures and all that fun stuff? That sort of subject?
No, well, not for me. I mean, I know what I have to have and what my requirements are, so as long as everybody figures out how to get them to me that way, I'll be fine.
Okay, so you
But I think that there's a lot of discussions that
need to happen.
should have been happening. Tom and I have been asking questions and pushing for meetings for months, and I finally just gave up. I figured.
Well, I think Brandon is, well, and Tom has been wanting to keep this thing going. So I
Tom's
think
the only thing that
Brandon, I
has
think, is
kept
on board.
it
So
going.
like, whatever system, we just need to be all on the same page, the
Yeah.
system or where it interfaces.
I
Well,
think it
whatnot.
can all be done digitally.
I think Brandon is our
The
digital.
only thing that I'm concerned about being digital is judgment and sentences and needing fingerprints on those. And that is a very coordinated effort because if the defendant is not there in person, there's a lot of signatures that have to happen. The defendant has to be printed. We need a defendant's signature, their attorney's signature, the prosecutor's signature, interpreter's signature, my clerk's signature saying that they witnessed the fingerprinting, and then the judge's signature. So
So 6
that's a lot
signatures.
of moving pieces, but that's also just one type of hearing and one type of document. So everything else, I think we'll be able to figure out a digital process. Should it have started happening months ago? Yes. But
So Tom is gonna reach out to Soden and Jefferson because they are two counties, even though they're smaller. They are separated, the jail is separated from the courtroom. So he was gonna reach out to them and see how they do things. So at least it would be a start.
I asked the clerks months ago about their processes, and most of them were doing remote hearings for most things. If I remember right, most of them that had that type of a setup, they were bringing the defendants in person for sentencings. So we'll see. I know Brandon's coordinating an effort to get another meeting put together, and hopefully that happens sooner rather than
Yeah, I
later.
think he's on the move. When he's up
Yeah.
there.
So, and you know, it'll be a learning curve for everyone to be essentially docu-signing everything and routing it to everyone to get signed, so, and then building the forms to work with that process is gonna take time, so. I appreciate Tom pushing, keep them pushing. I got enough things to worry about.
Yeah, we'll see that Tom doesn't just get something and leave it. He will see it to the end. That is one of Tom's strengths.
I just don't think that everybody's looking at it from their own little bubble, and I don't think anybody's looking at it from the big
How it affects
bubble.
everybody.
So
Yeah, I would agree.
hopefully that,
Hopefully we can get everybody together.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
it's hard to get everybody together. That's,
Well, it is, everybody's busy, but this is kind of important.
yeah,
And things
Uh,
And
happen.
it's getting to the critical
We're
nature.
getting to the point where things are moving fairly quickly, so
Yeah.
let's need to be taken care of.
well, and, you know, if we have to do it the old fashioned way and the defendants all have to come to court, I mean, I asked Joey about that early on, and he said, oh, if that's what we have to do, we'll make it happen, so. I guess that's the fallback. Is if all the technology poops out on us, then it'll be a little white van driving defendants back and forth all day, so.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come to that, but
I know.
we have to.
That's what I know.
Oh, yeah,
Well, thank you for
thank you.
popping on over. Happy Monday.
Yeah.
It is 10:27, we'll go into recess until 10:30.
It's not blowing 100 miles an hour. It's not raining.
Good morning, it is 10:31, and here's the district court update. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. I don't know if Desiree's on the line or not.
She's not.
I guess I can give you my update then.
Okay, cool.
Community Court was the recipient of one of Granco's 70 acts of kindness. We got 22 gift cards for our participants for incentives. And Columbia Basin Foundation is looking at other avenues for us to collect even more, since incentives are not something that we buy, forbidden from our funding. We recently applied for and got another $17,000 award from AOC to be used in the next 3 months to assist our participants with housing needs, recovery supports, and educational and certification licensing.
Okay, so ed certification and licensing, that would be.
Like Flagger School, food
Okay.
permits.
Anything that they would need to pay.
Correct. Correct. It also includes, it'll mostly get eaten by a positive parenting program for a couple of our participants. We'll see who's available to start that. Again, the funding has to be used by June 30th, so,
Got it, click right along.
yeah.
Never even heard of positive parenting program. Where was that when I had teenagers?
No kidding. And then you had asked me for a salary estimate for the 3 staff positions, mine and my 2 case managers for the following year. And this is just very rough estimate would be $380,000 total. And that's based off of what we had this year, and then increased by 3%.
Okay, so it's you and then two case.
And two case managers, Alma and Manny.
Okay.
We do know we will be getting some funding from AOC this year since they're already planning to come visit us in August. That's a good sign that we're
Okay.
being funded again. But again, it's gone down every year, so I have no idea what we can anticipate. We assume that they will continue to pay both Alma and my salaries. We just don't know if they'll include Manny's or not.
Thank you for that number.
Yeah, it's really rough. And like I said, we don't know with cost of living or, the pay raises and things, but I just looked at last year's and upped it.
Well, that community court program is very touching.
It is. It is.
Great. I think it's a great program myself.
It is. And we are very well liked by AOC, which is why they keep throwing money at us, but drives me crazy because they give me very little time to spend it and I have to spend it in a very specific way. So the housing will go fast, I think, but again, it has to be done in 3 months. So I have to have everything in order by that. And then I think we are on the consent agenda for 2 more people to go to Nashville. One is replacing Amanda Burton since she's no longer with the prosecutor's office. So Jeremiah Jensen is going in her place, and then we added Dale Weaver from Renew.
Yeah, number 5. Going to Nashville, huh? Hopefully they have TSA figured out by then.
Yeah, they're today, they were getting their paycheck.
Yes.
Are you going?
Yes. Yeah, between the hospital and this job, I'm traveling every month between now and October.
Well, hopefully you get to enjoy it a little bit, not just in the airport.
Yeah.
Airport food. Airport food that you can't afford to eat
The
at.
TSA pre-check was probably the best money I ever spent. So. Just walk through. I don't know if Desiree had anything else or not. I think it was really just mostly community court.
Still not on, okay. Okay. Guess that's it.
I guess that's it.
We'll go on recess until 10:45, 10:36. Good morning, it's 10:45. We are here for our commissioner work session. I think the only one consent agenda item we were talking about was the one for the San Lorenz.
Yeah, the number 10, I think we do a plaque and not actually name the name a county facility.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I did ask Caitlin to reach out to McKay so I can go walk through McKay Healthcare.
Oh, okay.
Since we've been sending them so much money, I'd like to go see what it's been used for.
Yeah, that was our 2025 grant. Yeah, I don't have anything. Rob did jump on earlier. I don't know if he's gonna jump on.
So this, this crab annual report, I got that in an email, but it wouldn't let me go in and sign it.
Okay, they may have to, usually what they do, they send it, and then sometimes if it's, the deadline expires, they have to resend. So they will resend it and then you can sign it.
Sent it Sunday. 5:06 PM.
And it won't let you get in to sign it?
I tried earlier. Signed the document within 14 days. And for whatever
We have
reason,
14
it
days.
still won't let me sign it.
Did it get full? Oh, this, tell me you can't. Oh, click the blue other highlight, right there.
Ever-
I would email him back and tell him you can't open it. And then, just to remind you, I will pop out, I have an interview at 1:00, so I will pop out at 1:30 to do our commissioner meeting today.
You attending via Zoom?
Yes. Can't run that fast. I think it'll just be faster and
You're gonna pop out at 1:30?
Do you want me to stamp your signature on things or? do you
yes,
want-
please.
Then we have the budget and finance
We should be-
meeting.
I may be a little late, but I should be. The last meeting, we should be winding. I know they have a 2-hour slot, but I should be fine with that. Plus I've looked at the material Daryl has sent over.
I can start with the finance. Start the budget and finance when you get in.
I'm sorry about that. Next time I'll try to look at the color and go, okay, this needs to be.
Daryl should be able to get through this pretty quick.
Yeah, well, then if you look at finances, it looks like our current expense is down 2 million, but we also have not collected property taxes yet. I think the bills just went out. Daryl said we are one of the latest counties to get our bills sent out. Like, hey, Daryl, I am not gonna pay it yearly. It's still a body part to be able to pay for my property taxes.
Yeah. I just emailed that place to see if they'll resend that.
Okay. Caitlin, do you have anything for us?
So? Oh, actually I do. It's just an FYI, and it's probably gonna be fun. I got a jury summons for the federal district court for end of April, beginning of May. But also that's when I'm supposed to be going to the Laserfish conference, so I did ask for a dismissal, but I won't hear back for a little bit. But just an FYI, that there's a scooch of a chance that I'll be having to do that.
Well, because you've already gone, is there anybody else, in case they don't let you out, is there anybody else that you'd recommend going to Laserfish?
In our office or
Well, hopefully we'll
just
have
in general?
somebody else up there to help you out
Yep.
by then.
When are our interviews scheduled?
We have not scheduled them yet.
Okay,
I'm
good.
waiting
So
to
I
hear
have not seen
from
them.
HR.
Yeah,
Was my list pretty comparable to everybody else's list?
The ones I've seen, I think, yeah, there's a few of those names that popped up for everybody.
Okay. I'm assuming you're gonna be sitting in there too?
I think that's the plan, yep. And then we'll schedule with the full board and.
they'll be in here at 11 for some management review.
I think there's only one.
Chat with them then. Okay. We don't have anything else? go into recess until 11. We good? Okay, we'll go into recess until 11 o'clock. Coming back with position management review.
Morning, ladies.
Good morning. It is 11 o'clock and we are here with position management review.
Good morning. So this one's, today's gonna be really quick. We only have one for you and it's a backfill. It is for TS. It is the title of it. Oh, sorry, yes, a technology service technician. Again, it is a backfill. Person has resigned and they are needing, needs for the role to continue to, is crucial. Backfilling this position will maintain essential support for system maintenance, troubleshooting, and service continuity, ensuring that core operations and response times are not adversely impacted. Any questions for payroll? Nope. Okay. Accounting? No. Commissioners?
I have no questions.
Okay. Oh, and Rob's on. Okay. Well, that's all I've got for you, so I'll bring it
Well, I
back
guess,
for
so, yep.
my meeting at 11:30.
Nice.
It-
That's it. That's all I've got.
That's the fastest one we've ever had.
I know. I know.
A minute, 2
11:01.
minutes.
We did
We
good.
just got it, we stretched it to 11:02.
Does the board have any position management things they would like to discuss while the team is together?
I don't think so.
Can't think of anything.
Okay. How about you guys? The team, anything? Okay, well, took us all longer to get here than it did to run the meeting, so.
Okay.
I guess we'll go
Thank
into
you.
recess until 11:30. Back with HR.
Thank you.
11:02.
I don't know, it's
Okay.
not coming.
Good morning. It is 11:30. We are here for Human Resources Update. Open forum for public comment, 5-minute limit. Human Resources related topics only. No one in the room and everybody online.
You have 3 attendees. One is Emily. She says she has no public comment. You have one named guest and an iPhone guest. I have given you the ability to unmute if you have any public comment for human resources related topics.
Okay, hearing none, I guess we'll move on.
Oh, Rob
I
joined
hear
us.
something.
Welcome, Rob.
Rob's there.
Oh, Rob's here. Wonderful. Okay, it's gonna be a short meeting today. Items 2, 3, 4, I do not have anything for you, no updates. Item 5, position management, I do have a PAR from the PA's office for their new wage structure. This one was an oversight. They didn't have that, so when I brought the others, so.
Make sure I'll track it. It needs a string on it, so I missed like 2 or 3 last week. 4? I think
Because
what
I
happens,
brought
they
you
start
2.
here and then they go to Rob and most of them
And
kind of come back, but I think they come back. Anyway, it's hard.
I will do better to make sure.
I'm trying to figure out, maybe if we start with Rob and move down, even though Kevin is the chair.
And I don't know how I missed the other 2, because I caught the 2,
Yeah,
and
I don't know
then Tina
either,
caught
'cause
the
I'm
other
like,
2, and I was like,
Yeah, it'd probably be just as easy, just start at that.
Start at
end,
one end and work our way
come this
down.
way.
The 3, I guess.
or you could move your seat, because technically 1, 2, 3, you know? Or 1, 2, 3.
Well, I used to be in the middle forever, and then when Danny left, I jumped over here. Kind of nice to be in the corner.
Interesting.
But I'm 3, so I should be on the end anyway.
I mean,
Kevin, go take over an end. Kevin's pretty important in the middle, though. I did like the middle.
It makes no difference to me.
I just have a bunch of junk over here, so it's just gonna hold
long
it
as we
all.
get the
I don't
job
know, I can throw my card over here too.
Okay, next item. In PMR, we heard about the technology services, service tech position.
And they're asking to backfill that one. Are you prepared to
Yeah.
make a decision on that?
Yeah.
2 yeses, okay. Rob, I know you can hear me, or at least I'm assuming you can. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm a yes.
Thank you. Signature.
Rob, would you like me to stamp your signature on these?
Yes, please.
Did I click the approve on mine that I just sent over? I think I sent it, I think I forgot to approve.
Don't.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I didn't
You're
click
good.
it, or hit it. Check it.
Caitlin, are you gonna run up and do that now or after?
You have other things for them to sign?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's it. Okay, so items 6, 7, and 8, I don't have anything. Items 9, policy. I did make the correction to the travel policy and sent that back out to you. Have you had an opportunity to review it since last week?
I'm not.
What day did you send it?
Let me look.
But I'll make a note here to redo it.
Let's see, I sent it. $311. And it was by itself. It was on the travel policy email, or on the emails. 600 series, 3rd installment. Thank you. And if you need more time, that's okay. Just wanted to let you know that it was out there. I'm happy to bring it back.
I see it.
So I did make the adjustments that you requested. Under accommodations, I did add that Grant County will reimburse lodging costs that are greater than the government rate if lodging is at or reasonably near the event. So we talked about that. And then went back to the regular or previous language on general rules regarding transportation expenses. That had to do with the airfare.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Those were the 2 changes that I made.
Looking at it now. No, I think I'm good with it.
Rob, did you have any questions about the policy?
No. I'm good with your update.
With the update?
I mean, yes.
Okay. We'll stamp it and get initials. Again, this is just the draft.
Good with it.
And that's all I have for you today.
With the last one.
Do you have anything for me?
Do we have anything else we need to be concerned with? Is everything going okay?
No,
We have one investigation still open. It should be wrapped up and a report being sent to Jen Homer for her review, and then by the end of this week, so then we should have it, I would hope sometime next week from her. I don't think that there's anything else outstanding at the moment.
Rob, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
The board wanted to follow up about scheduling deputy clerk interviews.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the next step is,
Oh, okay.
so.
Yeah, we can, all three of you want to participate? Is that what I heard?
I think that was the
Works in the
consensus.
schedule. If it works in our calendars, I think it would be prudent to have all three.
So then I'll just work with you to get something scheduled. Okay. And I guess, did we narrow it down, candidates down? I know that Tom is kind of working with you on that, at least I think he is. But get it narrowed down to the top 3, 4.
I think I have
Yeah, I
my
think
four.
that's the
You
plan.
sent yours, Tom sent me his. Did you send
Did you
me
have-
yours, or you can tell me? Jot them down on a piece of paper.
I'll do
Or
that.
one, your top 1 or 2.
I'll do that today.
Yeah,
I
your
know.
top couple,
Yeah, we
and then we
looked,
can get them scheduled.
we looked at them last week a little bit. So yeah, we'll get that to you today.
Okay. Great.
So Caitlin, do you need somebody to help you with, did you get all the Board of E stuff out?
Oh, so all the hearings are scheduled, now we just do the hearings, so the hard part's done, now we're into the easy part, so we're doing okay.
That's all we have. Then we'll go on recess until noon, back here with the city.
Okay.
11:40, we'll be back at noon.
Sorry, I had a meeting.
Really?
I had a meeting that ran a little bit later than I wanted.
It is 12:02. Let's call the meeting to order.
So.
Let's do it. Local agreement work session with the city of Moses Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was in connections that are on your desk to edit down, so.
That is certainly one way to stand.
And Brian.
Worry about them.
Well, I don't know Soap Lake anymore.
It's recording.
See, they just lost their finance director and their city attorney.
I think we're waiting for a couple.
I've always said that they make
If there's room, but I want to make sure
Yeah, there's room.
electeds have room.
of good government.
Because you got
and
Dustin and Victor.
Conversation.
So I'm not the only one that's late.
They make Manawa look like a model of good government
Cooley City might be getting up there.
Okay. Yeah, Mark is gonna try to
and
call
always
in.
Lynn.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way it is in small places. It's just like.
Okay,
that.
great.
Declining the promotion.
It was CO1.
Good luck with that.
Oh, yeah, well,
CO1, there was
small towns, it's gonna be that way.
at least. Because there was 20 of us technically. And you've got the
You're
site
sharing the
services,
meeting.
the engineering group that run the power,
You're at the end of the table, so
battery systems.
you're the boss, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot more than people think.
Well, Rob, thanks for putting this all together.
Yeah.
And suggesting this.
Super excited about this topic, these topics, I should say.
I'll bet you are. Have you heard anything about your funding request?
Yeah, it's in the bag.
Billions
of dollars.
This bag.
Let's right up by the table. Thank you. There you go. Good to see you.
Welcome back.
Great. I didn't get a chance to send out Robert, just received, well. Sorry, first of all, maybe some people in the room don't know who everybody is. So Trevor is our deputy civil prosecutor. And he just got his comments back to me on the ILA. So I know I haven't even had a chance to email them to you. I got them about a half hour ago. So I can probably print out a whole bunch of copies of this if you guys would like to see them.
I have copies of our version we're gonna hand out, but either way.
Either way. So, well, so this is your version with his comments on it. Let's see. There's a fast copy. How many copies did you?
Brought 4.
You
I
brought
wasn't
4?
sure how many was going to be.
I'm happy to just use my version. I already have copies.
Okay.
Unless there's anything first.
No, I think biggest thing was there was full homeless and indemnified language.
Okay, now that's something the attorneys can probably work out.
Yeah. In case there's a failure to obtain grant funding. A little something on the grant coordination, but again, we're not getting any part of the grant, so it's all on you guys. And then remedies in case we had to break this ILA or what have you, I think. Do you want to summarize very quickly?
That's pretty much it. Again, with the added provision in there regarding, failure to obtain grant funding, that was on there is just that the agreement would terminate. And again, just suggestions based upon my understanding of where it's at here at this point in time. Cleaning up the suggestions to it looks like there was an indemnification provision somewhat in there, but it just lawyer speak, cleaning it up, and we can probably hash that out. And then added a provision for mutual termination, added a provision regarding clarifying the ownership of property, and then adding a default and remedies provision that was in there. So certainly take a look at those comments and chat about them.
Okay. Nothing that couldn't get worked through pretty quick.
I don't believe that nothing that we could work through fairly easily.
Ideally, we'd love to have this, if not on consent next week, no later than the week after that. So we will have this week and next week to get it dialed in. And then you guys would have it by mid-April.
So if we talk about it high level here, and while we have the two attorneys, they can go off and hash it out together. That sound good?
Which one is the other attorney?
Oh, Catherine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're sitting on the other.
Color me embarrassed, I'm sorry. I should have
That's okay.
recognized you. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Last one in bias.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay, we're on your territory, so you guys can call the meeting to order and all that good
We
stuff.
already did.
All right, okay.
So, and just remember that we do everything on YouTube, so. I'll even speak nice about you.
I want everybody to be nice.
Commissioner Jones is the meeting with us today.
He was gonna join us. He's been.
Popping on.
Okay.
I think Mark's gonna be on. Is Mark already on?
Did you decide to become a panelist?
It is a very immediate decline to be promoted to a panelist. I'm not sure if he's actually intentionally declining it or if he has something else going on. I've given him the ability to unmute, so he can talk at least, but he can't turn on his camera or anything.
I don't need to see him. Okay.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Oh, no. Okay.
All right, so we have, how many council members present here? So
Six.
Six.
With Mr. Granger.
So Mayor, do you want to talk about Bridge Across the Lake and what happened last week?
Absolutely. So I'm really well versed in this now since I was back east last week selling our idea to our congressional delegation. I will tell you that we were introducing two issues, one being the lake crossing project, the other being related to water and the use of Bureau water potentially. To solve our issues. Of the two issues that we presented, this one was way more well received. There was a lot more excitement about it, at least I'll put it that way. So that gives me a lot of hope. I know that this project has been talked about since the 80s, probably with some seriousness. I don't know that anybody's taken this project as far as we have thus far, or we're planning to, just completion. But, you know, as I told the congressional delegation, this project not only serves to solve some immediate problems that we have, but it also sets us up for some future successes, and it's aspirational in nature. You know, the first problem we identified is the potential for traffic congestion in the event some existing infrastructure fails. Does this sound familiar to anyone? So with the closure of Hanson Road overpass, that became abundantly clear that a second lake crossing is needed for emergency services and just traffic generally with the amount of growth we have going on out there, which I'll speak to now. As far as the city of Moses Lake is concerned, I believe this council understands the potential of May Valley and the residential growth potential out there. What excites me about it is the proximity to the lake. So there's irrigation water available to those lots out there. The other thing it does is provide another way across the lake to deliver utilities, so both water and sewer. We have one means of crossing that part of the lake right now, which is across I-90. Last summer, we had an infrastructure failure with our sewage system on another horn of the lake. And there we had no redundancy, and so there was a challenge to deal with that sewage that was discharging into the lake. So we have other plans to put in a second pipeline, but this was a great example of another place where that's necessary. And again, with water, that is the only thing that connects the May Valley zone to the rest of the city or the central zone. And currently, the central zone and May Valley zone share water back and forth throughout the season at different times. So again, having a second means of transporting water across the lake would greatly improve things for us. And it also then would tie our pressure zone into the Larson pressure zone, which gives us way more flexibility. And then, of course, I think from the county's perspective and your transportation needs, you've identified this as a great transporter of freight traffic from I-90 to the Port of Moses Lake, which we're excited about, again, for the growth potential there and understanding the amount of jobs that we can see out there in the next 5, 10, or 20 years. That's my introduction for this. It's sort of the 5-minute elevator speech, and I don't know exactly how we get there. But the first thing we want to do is get our ILA signed that we're here to discuss today. And I think our next step in this process would be to proceed with the environmental impact study. And so that is what I met with the congressional delegation about. Let's seek funding for that. So we will see we'll receive that here shortly.
Yeah, so the handout you have is what the mayor gave our congressional delegation last week. So that's just a two-pager with a map. And on the map, don't get too excited about the crossing locations. Those are just for illustration purposes only.
Or you can get excited about it.
I think it's exciting.
Okay.
The EIS scoping period will actually identify what alternatives get analyzed. And so that map will become more, will become edited and more specific once the scoping process is done with the EIS. So what I'd like to hand out now is just the draft ILA that we gave our counterparts at the county. And as Tom just mentioned, the county has some edits to this. So let's just take a high level look at this, knowing that we're going to be getting the edits from the civil division of the prosecutor's office. And I think I agree. But the main thing is for us to be joined at the hip on this and be partners. We're proposing that we be the lead agency, but we are connected through the process the entire way. And so as the city would be the lead agency, and you would give us permission to do that because pretty much all the possible lake crossing locations are in Grant County, unincorporated Grant County.
Yeah, thanks. I was going into.
Yeah. And so because of that, because it's in your territory, we're asking for you guys to give us the authority to actually have this be our project. We'll manage it, apply for grants, for the recipient of the grants. There's a major touch point. If you look at number 5 on page 2, this is a milestone where both agencies would have to come to agreement. And that is, what is the scope of the AEIS? What alternatives are we looking at? What's the scope of the study? So both boards, I imagine, would come back together again at some point in the future to agree on the scope of the EIS. Okay. Now let's say we go through the EIS, it's all done, it's time to adopt the final EIS with a preferred location identified. That's where both boards once again come together and meet and hopefully approve the EIS with a preferred location identified. What if the two boards can't agree on a preferred location? This language proposes that the county has final say. Why? Because it's in your territory. So.
Or we can also for it either way. There are 7 of us.
We can find friends. We have more employees. Well, so first, as far as going back to DC, I know you guys are back there. We were there about 2 weeks before you guys were at Mako and Wasatch with all of our various initiatives. But you should know that we were very vocal about your projects. And even though we were talking about our specific, we really wanted to paint a picture to our congressional representatives and to Senator Murray and Senator Campbell's offices that this is a collaborative and connected community, that you're going to be hearing about these projects. The county was aware of when we were working together, so we really did try prior to you guys getting there, not the best greasing the skids, but at least they knew that, you're not going to hear about this for the very first time, like nobody's unaware of it, so just know that those conversations were being had.
So members of Congress start deciding which projects they want to move forward by late April, more like May, during the month of May. And it would be really nice to be able to tell them hey, this interlocal has been adopted. So that way, that might give them one more little nudge to approve our project.
And something else interesting about that too. So we use a federal lobbyist. One of the questions I had was, we're being supportive of the city of Moses Lake. We're not competing for these funds, right? So we asked for $2.35 million for a corner of this project in Moses Lake. And that's going through the Burn Justice Grants. It has nothing to do with transportation or anything. So ours has already been forwarded to appropriation. We just found out. It's the first one to drop. So we just found out about that on Thursday. So yeah, we're not, I think it's just an important note that we're not competing for funds, which is a good thing.
Our application is through the federal highway pot of money, so different pot of money.
Yeah. And speaking of that, is there any, so as we talked about this, it hasn't been a secret by any means. Somebody mentioned to me, is there any way, if there was a bridge crossing, that could be turned into a state route? Because obviously one of our big concerns, even after the EIS, once a bridge is built, who maintains it, right? If it was a state route, well, then the state would not. Great.
I like that idea.
I'm not opposed to
Well,
that
I think
either.
Public Works for that to happen previously. Was Andy invited? Okay.
Yeah, Andy knows
Because
that,
that is,
that question came up, and he feels the same way we do, is we don't want to have a bridge. The county maintains it. And then the state highway.
well, basically you'd be connected to,
Yeah. So it's kind
so we looked at it as state.
So anyway, we can collaborate there as well and kind of make that work. Would be a bonus for all of us.
And to that point, this money, if we do get it, does flow through WashDOT. And so I've been in touch with Chris Keifenheim, the regional director for WashDOT, and he's aware of that, and he's fine with them administering the money and sending it to us. So that's great because it already starts bringing them in.
Yeah. So that would be awesome.
I agree. I don't know if they have much money on the back of that, but.
So, an interesting thing about that, so at the public meeting that they did for the Hanson Road overpass, they talked about maintenance and preservation funds. I just happened to be in a meeting with a commissioner from Spokane County and their treasurer, who is also a legislator. He said that they funded it to $340 million for this next biennium for maintenance and preservation. So they upped it by something like 200%.
No kidding.
Yeah. I said, they did what? I mean, I stopped him. I was like, how much did they, and he was gonna give me those documents and send them to me. And I just haven't got, as soon as I get them, I'll forward them to you. I thought that was interesting. Had nothing to do with Grant County, but I was talking to him about Hanson and Hiawatha, saying, let me tell you the story that I just heard. It was literally the day after that meeting. And they were like, wait a minute.
Yeah, at the meeting I said, so, for Hanson, you have to go on for that project.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do for Adams? And they said, oh, no, they just increase the budget, so we don't need to rob from other projects.
So good to know that we can push in that regard. You got funding.
No, I know. That's the good type of funding increase. Okay. What's next?
Next item is comp plan coordination.
I had a couple questions on this, if that's okay. I don't know how closely you folks have been working on this, but did we come up with a number on what it would cost for the impact study? $1.5 million?
That's what we're asking for.
Yeah, 1.9 million is the
Okay.
total, and 1.52 is what we're asking. The additional 380,000 would meet our match requirement for this. And we do have money in our CIP. Several years worth of money, but we have money in our CIP. It's pretty close to that.
Okay, and then who were you thinking would be doing it? The environmental impact study?
We do a request for qualifications and put it out for engineering firms to compete.
Right. Okay, so how did you know to use this number? 1.9 or 1.52?
It's based on past EISs I've been involved with, plus some inflation.
Okay. That's my own questions.
I can't question, so if it all goes well with the EIS, the next steps would be seek from the state. So that this island is just ideas, right?
Yeah, that would do it all.
Oh, what?
Mhm.
Okay.
Including NEPA, the National Environmental.
So
Got
to
it.
get,
Okay. Got it.
mhm.
All right. Jim, you want to kick us off on the comp plan?
Yeah, so thanks everybody for the opportunity. For those that don't know me, Jim Anderson Cook, Director for Grant County Development Services. Here to provide a real quick update on where the county is at in the periodic update to the comprehensive plan. So for those that don't know, we owe an update by June of 2027 to that comprehensive plan. Where we stand currently, and your staff should be keeping you up to date as well, is we've conducted a population forecasts, and we've looked at numbers from the Office of Financial Management in 3 planning periods. So from 2000 to 2020, from 2010 to 2020, and then most recently from 2023 to 2025, to help inform us of what target would be best served. Now, for those that have heard me talk about it, I've had some concerns over the 2000 to 2020 number being diluted to not represent what growth we're currently seeing. I think the 2023 to 2025 number has shown some spikes or explosive growth in and around the COVID area, and the 2010 to 2020 number is a little bit more indicative of what we saw over the 20-year period, but doesn't adequately portray what truly we've experienced within probably a 5-year planning window. Won't go into the details of the numbers, your staff has that, but where we've all landed in stacked hands across the 13 UGA cities is we've picked a medium number for a target for this current 20-year planning period. And that represents about roughly 131,000 persons for our population growth, or projected populations. So the ask currently and where it stands is we've asked these 13 UGA cities, Moses Lake included, to go back and do a lands capacity analysis. And what really that means is specific to Moses Lake is you guys are planning for 5,400 roughly housing units across varying income bands in this planning period, and that's going to help 5,400. That's going to help determine the size of the UGA that's necessary to fit those housing units. It's how we help right size, so to speak, the UGA. Does it need to expand to account for those units? Does it need to contract? And again, that's across all 13 UGAs. Outside of that, the county then uses those numbers to try to determine, do we have enough commercially available lands to support that growth, to provide the jobs necessary to meet those needs, and that includes industrial lands as well. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that this is a county-wide, a holistic approach. So not only are we looking at the UGAs or the UGA of Moses Lake, but we're also looking at Quincy, Warden, Mattawa, Royal City, and others, George, to collectively ascertain whether or not we have enough available lands as a county, even though I believe, and you all might believe, that those are individual industrial centers. It does help inform us and require us to plan as a county as a whole. So that's currently where we're at. Your staff should probably be working towards the same, working on that land capacity analysis, and the county is expecting those numbers back from all these cities in the next month. So with that, I'll take questions.
If I can just add to that, so we're one of those cities doing the land capacity analysis right now. And based on what that produces, then we'll be able to go into the UGA assessment to determine whether we need to adjust our urban growth area. And then in the meantime, we're working on getting some citizen volunteers to serve on advisory committees for the different elements of our comprehensive plan. And we expect those groups will start meeting in about a month or so. We'd like to have a draft 2027 comp plan update ready to go first quarter of 2027 with the deadline for adoption in June 2027.
And what I would add to the Moses Lake plan is you guys are also working on some additional elements that are currently not in your comprehensive plan. So separate from what the county is working on, there's a couple extra tracks that your staff is also undertaking, which is required. So be on the lookout for those things as well. Climate resiliency. Yeah, there's a climate resiliency element that's required in all the comprehensive plans that your staff is working on, or consultants are working on. So, and that's can be a I don't want to say considerable lift, but because the county has already undertaken that work, and a lot of it is available to our city staffs and their consultants as a baseline. Quincy's going through it right now currently, and is using some of that modeling that we've done as a baseline to inform their work. And Moses Lake most certainly is available to do the same.
And that's a fairly new requirement of the state, is to talk about climate in our comp plans. I was talking to Vivian the other day, and rather than having our own standalone element on climate, we might just have some resiliency language spread throughout the document instead of having our own climate element.
And that's a really good idea. We have our own element, but then also have taken and put policies in all of our other chapters as well.
So we think we can meet state law by doing that rather than having a standout climate element.
What factors are part of this resiliency?
Well, that's a big question, but the work that we have done and the conclusions that were made, because I know that climate resiliency is a kind of a big scary word, is the findings that our work, the results of the findings of our work is that we need to focus on, and our goals and policies need to reflect water conservation. And I don't think that's a surprise to anybody in this room. The work also really pointed towards economic development and growth, which, you know, if we're going to grow the economies and we have to do so mindful of water conservation. The third part was electron generation. So if we're going to grow an economy, we have to find a way to increase electrical output, but doing so responsibly. And then the last component was available services like social and mental health care. That was a big takeaway from the outreach that we had done. Is folks felt like they didn't necessarily feel like they needed cooling shelters and you know, an HVAC assistance program. They just really felt like, and they felt like fresh foods was available to them. The things that other climate elements studies have shown, they're more focused on available services, you know, mental health and social health services. So
Is there, on the electron generation, are they limiting us as far as new development to certain types of electron generating?
No, not at all. It was the opposite of that. It was making sure that we have goals and policies that do not hinder our ability to, you know, to pivot if a new technology were to come available. Michelle and I presented to the board today. We had a meeting with FSEC and Ecology last week, hosted a meeting with FSEC and Ecology, talked about upcoming trends in new technologies, and we want to make sure that we have policies in place to.
So they're open to SMRs and of that nature?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we can pivot towards those things.
Okay.
Natural
gas. Cedar reform.
About to say.
At least you have it.
Cedar reform.
The Chairman, quick question. So this land analysis is if it requires each city or town to increase their UGA, so would that be a comp plan amendment? Does it happen through legislation? What is that?
It happens through this work. So what the cities are doing right now is they're taking a look at, available lands. Is it developed? Is it partially developed? And there's some reduction factors and things that, let's say a city, I don't want to call it any one particular city, but let's say a city doesn't have the available lands because of current development patterns and just constraints inside of their existing UGA boundary. Can they make a zoning designation change, a density change to allow to be able to meet those housing requirements? If they can't, then now we're talking about, the word that nobody likes to talk about, expansion of the UGA, but it's really, can we make density changes by regulation change within the current designations, within the current boundary to allow to meet those densities? For example, one of those regulation changes would be, allowing ADUs. So can the city make a policy change to allow for ADUs to effectively double the density over what they allow currently? That wouldn't be expanding the UGA. That would just be, I don't want to say a simple amendment, but that would be an amendment. So if the city were wanting to do that, then part of their update to their text would be during this comprehensive plan update due by June or July 2027 would be to change their policy, their land use policy to allow for that. So no, there wouldn't be an application for a text amendment brought forward to the county by the city. It would just be done as part of their overall.
Are there cities taking that approach?
There can be. Yeah, there can be. So UGAs ADUs now are allowed.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, they're taking credit for 100%, like as if 100% of homes had an ADU.
Potentially. No, it comes at it.
That's good math.
Well, and that's why it needs to be done. It needs to be done during this process so that the capital facilities planning can be done to allow for or to account for. If you are making a policy shift or change to allow for ADUs to count towards density, then you also need to make capital facility plans to account for the additional density.
For a while, yeah.
That's why there's always been pushback by the likes of FutureWise when a community or a county makes a policy, does capital facility planning for one dwelling unit per, and then at the stroke of a pen, the municipality or county allows for an ADU, you've effectively thrown all that capital facility planning out the window.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
You're increasing traffic, everything else.
Exactly.
Water use.
Neighbors.
Right.
Close.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
A lot of thought we need to engage in. Okay.
Jim, what potential we're talking about a second bridge here. What potential impact does a second bridge have on the work that we're doing in your comp plan update?
It has a lot. It has a lot. That's why this is really important, but we have time. So I don't want to scare anybody in this room. That's why this early engagement is so important. I mean, the city of Moses Lake has just made a determination of significance and is doing an EIS scoping with a couple action alternatives. The county has done the same already. We're a couple months ahead of that, and we have a couple alternatives on the table as well, but neither one of them discuss a bridge. So, but all is not lost. We can, if this ILA, when this ILA is executed and we move towards this work, then we probably need to look at some alternatives that do talk about a bridge wherever that pin is placed so that we can study those surrounding areas.
We need to have a decent sense of the timeline.
I don't.
What role would that play?
I think that we're in a 20-year planning period. So yeah, we do have to probably, the best that we can tell,
Yeah, that's judgment.
best judgment,
Yeah.
you know, what is this going to look like, you know, inside of that 20-year planning period?
5 years. 5 years.
Yeah.
I wish.
It's aggressive.
I also think the bridge across the lake can help us on the climate argument. Shorter trips, less congestion. And then also on resiliency, if we have another alternate way to get around the lake, if there is some sort of disaster, whether it's an earthquake or other situation.
Well, again, the sewage would be one.
Yeah, so like you said, yeah. So it can help us with resiliency as well as carbon footprint.
Social and mental health care, you know, less road rage, right? If
There
you
you
have,
go.
kind of what you're thinking.
You can see it drive.
I was gonna say, the sunset's gonna look beautiful on that bridge, yeah. Cool.
Well, that was a ton of really helpful information.
Thank you. Thanks to Jim and his team and our team for being so well coordinated. They're talking and making sure that we get the best product from both agencies.
How are the ports engaging in this process thus far?
In the comprehensive plan process, we have, you know, of course, we've invited all, you know, everybody to the party. I don't want to say they're disengaged, but they've got a lot going on. You know, they've got their own plan that they're working on. Well, they've updated it. We have been in discussions with the port. You know, I don't think it's any secret that they're, you know, actively looking to expand their footprint and lands. They're trying to acquire lands for port expansions, and we're attempting to set up a meeting with them and the Department of Commerce tomorrow to see if we can figure out a way by which they can do that expansion without leaning into other work.
Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So we have quite a,
Port of Quincy as well. I
Yeah.
guess they're,
Yeah.
I would say those are the two big ones here.
Yeah, Port of Quincy as well. We have a lot of mounting pressures from a lot of ports. I mean, Port of Mattawa, you know, Port of Mattawa, we have a problem we'd like to solve for them as well. Again, I treat them all as different, as really different industrial centers that have their own different economies, that have their own different issues that, you know, we feel the burden of responsibility to try to see if we can get that figured out, but we're also confined and constrained by, you know, the Growth Management Act and other things. That it helps when folks like yourselves go to DC, when, you know, Tom and I and our contingency went to DC and start making some noise. It really helps, because there's not we learned that, you know, we are very underrepresented, and so making noise is a good thing. Yeah.
And did you have anything to add? I know you walked in the door, I don't want to push on the spot, but.
No, sorry I was late. From a public works perspective, I don't know who this bridge would ultimately belong to if it were ever built, but we would not be able to maintain it, the current form of our bridge crew now. We don't have the equipment, the manpower, anything for a bridge this size. So I don't know if you're looking for us to take care of it, the state to take care of it, the city to take care of it.
I think we're moving towards the state.
Yeah, we discussed that a little while ago, so we talked about.
Sorry, I
trying
was
to make
late.
a state route. No, that's all right, but yeah, it would be difficult, you know, from the county standpoint to be able to just take on that as a.
Tom, quick question for you. If we're all looking for the state to take this over once it's built, are they gonna then ask to be the lead agency on this?
I would.
That would be
It's a good.
handy question.
So that sounds like
That's a
something
good
they would want to
question.
do.
You know, I mean, my experience with them is they forced the issue of a roundabout here in Ecreta. We forced the issue that we would be the lead agency because we couldn't wait for them, and they acquiesced.
Yeah, but that's something like, that's a drop compared to what this is though.
I agree. At the same time, they started bleeding people, you know, engineers, everybody during COVID, and they can't get those numbers back. And I know that they have been looking to partner with agencies because they, like what we did, we're not unique. They're doing that with other cities and towns across the state because they simply can't do it. And they can't get the manpower to do it. So from that perspective, I don't have an answer, but I would imagine if the conversation is right and is framed correctly, probably find a willing partner.
Well, I think based on the project that we did out there at the roundabout, that you guys were in charge of, like, we think they'd be happy to partner with us and have us take care of it.
They were very happy with that project.
I mean, I think there's a lot of smart people in this room, I think we can make it work.
Cheryl has a question.
If that's okay. Actually, I have two.
You only get one.
First of all, can you expand your UGA boundaries? I kind of thought those were set in stone.
You can, but it requires a significant amount of data.
Okay.
And it's not often, it's not common. There is a process by which you can swap.
Okay.
And that's difficult to do, although I think Grant County's been the only one since the legislation has dropped to allow for UGA swaps. We were able to do it with a FREDA specific to the jail.
Okay.
So if we're thinking about Moses Lake, it wouldn't be an expansion as much as it could be a swap.
Okay. And my other question is, what are the chances that Department of Transportation would want more roads to maintain?
I'm guessing, right? I
Right.
mean, I don't work for them.
Yeah, this
but I
isn't
would
really
think
a
that-
question you guys can answer,
I
but
would think that when you talk about mobility, it, you know, an enhancement to an area, this would obviously be an enhancement to this region. I think it's hard for them to say no if there isn't a compelling case, right? I mean, no, I don't think it comes down to that conversation with the state. I think it comes down to how it's serving the citizens. That's my 2 cents.
Well, and I think if you did the Hiawatha over to 17, that route would work good for the state. This other one down West Shore Drive, I personally don't see that being a very good option myself, but that's just me. I can't imagine one West Shore Drive would be real happy about.
Truck traffic.
We had enough problems with just.
You don't want to take that on?
I just think the Hiawatha would make more sense for the state, and you'd have a better chance of getting federal funding or state funding.
That could be, is it roadie?
Just remember, these aren't set in stone either, so this could all be changed. It could be, Road E or something like that.
Yeah. And I would expect the study will give us more information.
Well, I think we're on our way. I think what we need is, if you could get a copy of what you sent me over to Catherine.
She's got a hard copy, but
Order an electronic copy. You could just move this to the priority list and move it to the top.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we have any issue. I'm not gonna speak for the commissioners. I don't think we have any issue with political.
No, I'm just happy that we're actually all in the same room doing this. That's a huge step as far as I'm concerned, so I appreciate you guys coming over.
Yep, they're great.
And bringing lunch.
Yeah.
Have you talked to them about
Digging it out, digging it out.
Any questions about anything else going on in the county at all? Or any
When's
questions?
the jail open?
May, in the May. So you wanna go pick your room?
Break it in.
You need to get over there for a tour.
I don't know, I went for the groundbreaking and haven't been back since.
That's a little different. It's like, they're ready to move on.
Yeah, so it's on time, under budget. It'll be done by the end of May. So the sheriff will be ready to move in. As far as corrections moving in, they've got a lot of processes to work through, so they may not actually move in until August. That's the last timeline.
They got a train on it.
Well, they're still programming all of that stuff, right? All of the control systems with the university has violations with, what's like, for example, to review takes a while. 95% complete with all that.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of open warrants and whatnot that are waiting to be served, but I'm guessing they're probably gonna prioritize moving people here first and maybe do it in phases, and then once they get everything settled, then start rounding people up.
And that's gonna be a really good, Joe Creek question, so.
I
you
think
know,
Joey did say, I wouldn't go. He said we can't just fill it up as soon as we move in,
Yeah.
it's gonna overwhelm
Yeah,
everybody.
'cause you don't
So
have
I think
the
it is a
staff.
phase in where they're just
I was gonna say.
kind of move our crew. Actually, what they're gonna do, like, they've gotta do a meal for 60 people. Up
Well-
there, before they even move in, they've gotta do these test scenarios, which sounds
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, you know, we didn't want to have to go through what we went through before with finding land and all of the things to build a building anymore in Washington State, right? So, you know, we built a 512 bed jail, but it's expandable to 1,024. So the infirmary, the kitchen, the laundry, inmate clothing, that was all built for 1,024. So if they ever do expand those pods, they don't have to worry about the support services. That being said, they're moving from a kitchen that's about the size of this room to probably the nicest kitchen in all of Grant County. And so all of the kitchen consultants are there, all of the manufacturers are there, and yeah, they're gonna cook for like 70 people, 50, 70 people. And they'll learn that kitchen. I mean, they're already going over there and learning about it, but they'll learn it in a day when they cook. And they'll have all those manufacturers.
Yeah, little scenarios like that, or booking process, somebody coming in, hook them. Get a few systems. It's quite a bit larger than what we have here.
So what do you think will happen with the work release facility?
Well, you know, it's already utilized right now.
Well, I know, and it will be for the coroner.
That's where he's at right now.
He's currently using that, yeah. So in my conversation with Joe Creek, they would like to bring that back. What that looks like, I don't know. A timeline, don't know. They would like to. I think they have to get in there and learn how to operate this new environment. I mean, they're changing every policy and procedure. It's radically different than what they have. So, you know, we've got letters of intent from a number of jurisdictions who want to house their inmates here, but you know, how they even do that until they get used to just housing ours, right? So.
We'll sign it for a tour. We have the best tour guide right here.
You guys contract with the tribe?
We have not.
Not yet. We may need to. If that changes.
That's right.
We also have one more ILA we're working on with the county, and that is for the city to, for UGA applications and having the city's standards be used in urban growth area development. We're still staff to staff on this right now. We're trying to figure out like who processes the permits, who gets fees, that sort of thing. So Vivian, our community development planning manager, and Jen are going to be meeting later this week to kind of hammer some more details on that. So.
I thought we already had one in place. And then when, that we were just kind of more of, what kind of work we really did or something, but. yeah, we
We do
didn't have
for other
anything.
cities, but not us. Is that right?
No, we don't have any ILAs with any of the cities. So we have very antiquated countywide planning policies that need to be updated part of this process as well, but unfortunately not. So it's time. It's time. There are
I
other,
think I had asked earlier, and you said, no, we don't.
Yeah.
I know Damien, we had mentioned it, maybe we were working on it,
yeah.
or we kind of, like neighborhoods when we got it, yeah.
Yeah, so, and kind of the cool thing is Moses Lake, when they overhauled their municipal code in 2024, they inserted something that's really handy to me, and that's concurrency review, because that's something that wasn't in their code before. And so now there's a process by which a development or a developer that was applying currently to the county has to gain concurrency from City of Moses Lake. And they have a process for that. So we have a couple applications, large applications that are pending, that are going through concurrency review right now with the city, meaning, you know, show back up at our counter, proving that you have access to water and sewer. Different than kind of what we went through in 2022. But this would take that a step further in that, you know, we would actually have a process by which, you know, there's a policy where these applications, whether it be at Moses Lake's counter or at my counter, were being reviewed with Moses Lake City standards applied all the way across the board. So.
I hate to leave, but I have an interview here in like 6 minutes across the street, and I'm not very fast at running.
I'm in the same one. You guys are a W20 meeting?
We do.
Whoops.
But maybe a little late though.
Any other questions for us at all?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming.
No.
Better take the whole thing.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're in that meeting too.
That was done.
Yeah.
That was done.
So this is a new one? Oh, these are the ones on the 17th.
Oh, yeah, you want to close this out? Don't?
And the other, something this.
It's 12:55, we're gonna have a recess until 1 o'clock.
First of all, I'm not sure we heard that. To meet you, basically. Can I call you tomorrow? You were talking a little about.
Good afternoon, it's 1:30 and we are here for our commissioners meeting. I'll call it to order. Open forum for public input, 3 minutes per person, 15-minute time limit. Jerome, you got anything? Nothing for Jerome?
Not this week.
Anybody online?
You have one attendee, you have an iPhone guest. I've given you the ability to unmute if you have any public comment.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, there's been a motion and I'll second that before I move on. Motion and a second to approve the agenda as written. Any more discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Correspondence, emails received that need response, letters of support. I did receive one email from somebody in Stratford about Stratford Road. I already emailed them back. Gave them the information, so I don't have anything else other than that.
I'll bring it to you guys next week, but I have dates and times for the McKay Healthcare
Okay.
tour. But I'll bring it next week when you guys are all here.
Okay. Sounds good. Rob, you got anything this week?
No, I've had a few calls on things that I've worked on, but nothing needs to be talked about.
Okie dokie. On to Commissioners Roundtable. I think we pretty much discussed everything this morning for the roundtable. Rob, we just had the city in here for the,
I was on.
you were just being quiet.
Yeah.
I think that went pretty good.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything? Caitlin? No? Good. I guess we'll move on to the consent agenda.
So on consent agenda, did you guys discuss the naming of offices, buildings, or no?
We did a little bit. I think that two of us decided we didn't really want to name an office building after somebody. We felt that putting a plaque up was sufficient. That was our consensus anyway.
Okay. Did you talk to the sheriff on that one or no?
No, he wasn't here, hasn't said anything, so.
Okay. Okay. So we want to hold or just pull it?
We can just pull it if you'd like.
Okay. Well then, Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 1 through 11, removing item number 10.
Okay, there's been a motion, I'll second that. approving items 1 through 11, removing item number 10. Is there any more discussion? Okay. Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approve the consent agenda.
And no walk-on items today.
I'll walk on items today.
All right. Is budget finance meeting just a regular meeting or is it
I think so.
anticipated executive session?
You have something, Jerome?
Yeah. Number 8 is approval of order recommendation letter for the Freda landfill. Number 10 is the proclamation for naming the former employee the county facility.
So it's number 10. Okay. So we'll have to change that motion to remove number 10, item number 10.
I did remove number 10.
I thought he did.
I thought you said number 8.
No, I thought
Number
he said-
10.
Never mind, my
number 10.
mistake.
We're good. Jerome's just messing with us. All right, sir.
All right. Will you stamp my name, Caitlin?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, go have fun.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to finish a couple applications right now.
Oh, this is really cold.
I hate it when they do that. You feel like you're gonna fall down. That's messed up. You can put it in.
It's a AP badge.
See that from over there? I had to get it. Oh, there's some chip or something underneath the table.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
okay. See you later.
See ya.
Minutes. Reimbursement request from New Hope. Reimbursement request from K Healthcare. Out-of-state travel for district court. Reimbursable work agreement with City of East Freda.
Room sweeping.
Yes. This is a request to purchase 20 rapid radios.
I think I'm gonna get a couple of those.
The award recommendation and award letter. Be afraid of landfill. That is the request for the chair to electronically sign the CRAB reports.
Well, they send it back to me, I'll sign it.
It's PUD privilege tax distribution.
Quite a bit.
And that's it.
Quick and easy.
Oh,
That's it, Rob. Okay, we'll stamp your name on everything. We will go into recess until 2 o'clock. 1:38, we'll be in recess until 2 o'clock. Back for the budget finance.
The meeting to this time, but can't make it this time.
Good afternoon, it is 2 o'clock and we are in for a budget and finance committee meeting. We will not be recording it until we have a quorum. Once we have a quorum, we will open it back up. In the meantime, we'll conduct our business as needed. 2 o'clock.
Check anything.
It is 2:34 and because of a lack of quorum, we will be rescheduling the budget and finance committee meeting.
But so far, none of that is concerning. And then